Hello everyone, today I will be talking about my all-time favorite entertainment media franchise. I'm even wearing their shirt right now. As you can see, my all-time favorite entertainment media franchise is Godzilla. And in this video we will see why I love Godzilla so much and why it is so influential to the world. Let's go. Godzilla first appeared in the silver screen in 1954, almost a decade after the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We will come back to that later. And since then, Godzilla has appeared in numerous media such as, of course, movies, TV series, comic books, and video games, and many more. And with almost 70 years of history, Godzilla must have a lot of history, so let's dive into it. So, before we dive in deeper, we must know what genre Godzilla is. So, Godzilla is in the tokusatsu genre, which basically means that the production of the series and the movies use special effects. And in this tokusatsu genre, there are some familiar names such as Ultraman or Super Sentai, which is the base of Power Rangers. And the special effects used in Godzilla are humans wearing rubber monster suits. However, that only lasted until 2004, and the modern Godzilla series, starting from 2014, uses computer-generated monsters instead. However, this change does not affect the message that the movies want to send to the audience. So the Godzilla franchise is basically an entertaining environmental message for the audience. The Godzilla movies are always fun and full of messages. Well, not the first Godzilla movie because that movie was quite dark and not fun. Just take a look at this clip. Yeah, that was very disturbing when I first watched it. So yeah, that clip came from the first Godzilla movie, which was titled Gojira, and Godzilla itself actually is a westernized name for Godzilla. So the original name is Gojira, and the word Gojira came from the Japanese word for gorilla and whale, which is Gorira and Kujira, where the gorilla part basically describes how Godzilla is this powerful and strong creature, and the Kujira or whale part describes that Godzilla is an aquatic animal, although he can walk on land as well. The first Godzilla movie, which was aired in 1954, was directed by Japanese director Ishiro Honda. In the movie, Godzilla was depicted as an ancient creature awoken by nuclear testing near the islands of Japan. After it woke up, Godzilla wreaked havoc across Japan, leaving city in ruins and a lot of casualties. And for those who survived, are affected by Godzilla's radiation, so the people are infected with radiation poisoning. And then Godzilla was killed by a scientist, Dr. Serizawa, using his own weapon, and Dr. Serizawa intentionally sacrificed himself to kill Godzilla because he was the only one that knows how to create this weapon, and he wants to die with this knowledge without any other writings or anything. So no man, no military, no country can replicate his weapon, so it can be used in war. Throughout the years, Godzilla has always been an allegory for man's mistake in the world. This movie, the first movie, was an allegory and a reminder for the Japanese people of the atomic bombings done in their country. So the first movie and all other movies until the 70s are in the Showa period, And after the first movie and the second movie, the Godzilla was still an quote-unquote antagonist, as a he still destroyed Japan and others. And then after that, Godzilla became more of a hero or protagonist, and this is where the Godzilla movies started to take a turn. It started to become more kid-friendly. Like, look at these clips. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So in the 60s and 70s, until 70s, Godzilla took a turn for either it's the worst or the best. It's very fun, don't get me wrong, but the allegory of a monster that is essentially a walking nuclear bomb kind of disappears in the latest entries of the series. The next era we will be talking about is the Heisei era. In the Heisei era, Godzilla came back to its roots, its destructive roots especially. In the first movie, Godzilla 1985, Godzilla came back. This was a second Godzilla. And speaking of this, all of the movies before this movie, from the movies from the 60s and the 70s, are completely ignored. So this is basically a reboot of the Godzilla franchise, except the first Godzilla movie. So the Godzilla that appears here is the second Godzilla that ever appeared in this continuity. Interestingly, in this movie, there are also American and Russian, or at that time is still the Uni-Soviet, the Soviet Union. There's still conflict, so there's a glimpse of Cold War, and also there's also of course the nuclear allegory of Godzilla, and also a potential nuclear war that could happen between America and Russia. This era was the most critically acclaimed because of how the story was written and how it actually had a consistent continuity, unlike the previous era, the Showa era. And here Godzilla was more of an anti-hero, only it's basically an animal, which a smart animal that he fights to protect his territory or to protect his even child. Yes, Godzilla has a child. Look at him, he's so cute. But he also still destroys Japan occasionally. And this was also one of the most saddest eras, because in the end of the era, in the movie Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, Godzilla actually dies, and that is the closure of the Godzilla story. This was actually planned to be the final Godzilla movie, but of course we know for every successful franchise, it will never stop. So to the next era we go. The next era we'll be talking about is the Millennium Era. It is called the Millennium Era because it starts in the 2000s, which is the new millennium. Although technically the first Godzilla movie in this era, Godzilla Millennium, takes place in 1999. So the movie here still has the same messages, such as humans creating weapons of mass destruction that can lead to our own destruction. But one of the movies that is very deep and very dark in my opinion is this movie, Godzilla Mothra King Ghidorah, All Monsters All Out Attack. It's a very mouthful movie. It's a very mouthful title. So in this movie, Godzilla is basically he's still Godzilla, but although Godzilla is possessed by the souls of those of people that were killed by Japan in World War II. So basically, this is punishment for Japan for getting involved in the war in the first place. So I feel like this is very dark, and it has a good story about how Japan was one of the most quote-unquote destructive countries in World War II, and their crimes against humanity came back to them in the form of Godzilla. Now, after this, in 2004, Godzilla took a break. The Godzilla franchise took a break, so there were no movies at all for a decade. So the next movie starts in 2014. Let's jump into that one. Okay, so next we'll be talking about the modern Godzilla movies. And actually, the modern Godzilla movies were mostly made by an American studio, starting in 2014 with Godzilla. This is actually not the first American Godzilla movie. The first American Godzilla movie was this Godzilla 1998, and this was not at all well received by anyone, not critics, not fans, because this is not Godzilla. It's just a giant lizard, and yeah, it's not Godzilla. Jumping back to the 2014 movie, the 2014 movie piggybacked in the popular Marvel franchise in the expanded universe, and the 2014 Godzilla movie started a universe called the MonsterVerse, which involves many classic monsters such as Godzilla, King Kong, Mothra, Rodan, King Ghidorah, and many more. In this era, Godzilla is more of a force of nature. He's a guardian of the earth, and whenever balance is shifted in the earth, Godzilla will come and fix the balance. So, for example, there are giant monsters just wreaking havoc. Godzilla will fight them and maintain balance. And for example, if humans create something that disturbs the balance, Godzilla will come and punish the humans and still maintaining balance. Next is a new Japanese created Godzilla movie. This is the first Japanese created Godzilla movie in almost 12 years, and it first aired in 2016, and the movie was Shin Godzilla. So the movie was very well appreciated by critics and fans, myself included. It was a really good movie. It had a good message, and it had a really cool Godzilla. Like, look at that Godzilla, and it was very scary. This was the first movie, Godzilla movie that scared me besides the original movie. In this movie, the message that wants to be sent is the Godzilla here was mutated due to nuclear waste being thrown away to sea. So yeah, it's still the message of humans destroying nature, and the repercussions of it is still there. And that is basically the history and why I like the Godzilla franchise so much. It's a fun series. It's just a bunch of giant monsters fighting, and I love that so much. But also that it has a message for us humans, that we are only a small part of nature, and we do not have any rights to destroy the environment, because from these movies we can, although this is fiction, but real life repercussions could still happen. By destroying the environment, humans can also get destroyed by the after effects of their own actions. So yeah, I highly recommend for any of you that are bored and wants to watch some just fun movies, not that deep, but just fun with a clear message in it. I highly recommend you to watch the Godzilla franchise. And if you don't like it, I'm okay with it. But if you like it, I'm gonna say you're welcome. And that is all from me. Goodbye.